disqualification. And I was on a team call today with one of my buddies, Tyson, and someone was asking, hey, I want to call realtors. What's your suggestion? And I said, my suggestion is go for fast disqualification. Now, what's the alternative? The alternative is to try to close every person you ever talk to on a cold call. I can assure you, at the end of that day, you will want to shower. You will literally ache in your back. You will feel like you have fought 12 tigers. That's going to be a rough day for you. I'm just letting you know. Cold calling, go for fast disqualification. And it isn't just me saying that. I was able to spend a little bit of actually personal time with a gentleman named Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort is, you probably know him as his other name, the Wolf of Wall Street, right? And I'm certainly not condoning, Jordan for his past actions, and you may have your own, belief system around, who he is and whatever else. What you can't deny is the guy's an amazing cold calling trainer. He trained people who hadn't even finished high school how to make millions of dollars over the phone and talking to strangers they had never met and would never meet and get millions of dollars over the phone. Okay, so you just can't doubt whether you feel about him ethically. I get it. I'm right there with you. High five. Okay, but you can't deny his ability to train people in cold calling. And I spent some time with him, and he said, when you're cold calling, go for fast disqualification. So it's about numbers, it's about speed. It's about numbers, it's about speed. Now notice, I'm not saying face-to-face here. I'm saying cold calling. This means, maybe I'm driving down the road, I see a realtor sign, and I call it. Or I Google in my area, Estero Realtors or Fort Myers Realtors or Southwest Florida Realtors, and I'm just cold calling, boom, 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 boom. I'm not saying that it has to be realtors. I'm saying it could be any list. I could go and buy a list. I could go buy a list from a list broker and say, hey, give me the name of all the small business owners in my area. I could get that list, and I could call them. Okay, you can too. But if I'm going to, go for fast disqualification. And I'm going to share with you in detail here in a second. Offline, I'm going to share, and I've shared this before, so I'm going to quickly go through the offline stranger part. Many of you have seen it, some of you have not, so I do want to cover it. And then we're going to get into some serious follow-up, all right? So cold calling, let me explain. So cold calling, there's a great story, okay? And cold calling, I mean, it really could be door-to-door. I'm more talking about cold calling over the phone, but it could be door-to-door. I've done that, believe it or not. It's not my favorite for sure, but I do want to refer to a story that's inside the book Go for No. Now, how many of you have read the book Go for No? I'm just curious. Any of you? Have a few of you? I've mentioned it my entire career. My entire career, I've talked about the Go for No book by Andrea and Richard Waltz. Okay, but Go for No, great book, and it really helped me in my career. But they did that. They have a story in there about door-to-door salesmen of insurance. Okay, so what happens is they took this group of door-to-door insurance salesmen. Can you imagine a less appealing job? I mean, let's be honest here, right? Door-to-door insurance salesman. Ugh. I mean, it just sounds terrible to me. It really does. Nothing against insurance. I'm a big fan of insurance, actually. But, door-to-door insurance salesman, cold calling, yikes. Not a fan. They took this group of people who were going door-to-door selling insurance, and they would go to the door and they would knock, knock, hello, do you know the benefits of insurance? And let me tell you all about it. And, they would do this big, long spiel, and they would try to keep that door open as long as possible, only to eventually get the door slammed shut on them most of the times. So, because they had this long drawn-out pitch, they could only go to so many doors. And a consultant suggested to them, hey, why don't we go for speed? Why don't we try to go and hit way more doors? And they're like, sure, we're game. What we're doing sucks anyway, right? Give us some ideas. So they changed up the game, and they started going to doors, and they would knock on the door. Someone would answer, and they'd say, you're not looking for insurance, are you? You're not looking for insurance, are you? Think about that. That's all they said. And the person would either say no, or they'd say, well, yeah, actually. So, because they changed it up, they were simply able to go to more doors and their sales tripled. Their sales increased tremendously. Why? Why is that? It's because they got in front of more people. That is the key. They got in front of more people. They wasted less time. If I could give you, if I had to write one sentence on how to improve your network marketing game, it would be say less to more people. That's what it would be. Say less to more people. So they went for fast disqualification. So let me give you some phrases if you're going to be cold calling. And this is where you probably want to take some notes here, guys. I'm giving you actual phrases that I have used and that have worked like crazy. Okay? These are what I'm calling lack of result addiction phrases. These are phrases that you can use to display your lack of being addicted to the result. Very powerful for you to even embrace that. Because most people, they'll reach out to me and they'll say, Ray, you know, I talked to this guy on the subway and he expressed interest and I followed up with him and he said he was going to watch the presentation but he didn't, so I followed up a second time and he said that he had time to watch half of it but then he had something happen and so now I'm reaching back out to him on this third time. We're supposed to meet up for coffee but you know, he didn't show up. Ray, what should I do? Stop spending time on that one prospect. That's what you should do. Say less to more people. So many people, if someone even whiffs the air close to them, it's like, oh my God, ooh, Nelly, we got a live one. You can't be that way. You can't get tied up on every single prospect that sniffs in your direction, or you're going to go crazy. You're going to go nuts. You got to stop it. So here are some phrases that will help you with this. Hey, I may be barking up the wrong tree, but, and let me show you a couple more here. This may or may not be for you. This may or may not be exactly what you're looking for. Okay? These three little simple phrases, what they do is they show that you're not addicted to the result, that you're not overly eager, that you're not telling them how much of a no-brainer it is, how $1 billion opportunity, ground floor, they'd be great at it. You have to at least give off the perception that you don't need them. Let me say that again. You have to at least give off the perception that you don't need them. When you need someone, you are desperate. And nobody wants to sign up with someone desperate. And a class of people that would know exactly what I'm talking about, guys in high school. Guys in high school, do you want to ensure that you don't date any girl? Just be desperate. Just be desperate. Just the energy of desperation, those dates will evade you. You will not have a date. Just be desperate. That's all you got to do. If you want to ensure, you know, I want to make sure that I don't have a date for prom, just be desperate. It'll work 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Be desperate. If you want to completely avoid recruiting anybody, then just be desperate. It'll work 100% of the time. If you come across as desperate, as needy, as you need them for you to do your business, they will not sign up with you and they won't want to be around you. Okay? Lack of eagerness and lack of result addiction combined with speed, key. Let me say it again. Lack of eagerness, lack of result addiction combined with speed is key when I'm talking cold calling. Is that powerful? Is that helpful so far? Just curious. Is that opening you guys up a little bit? Okay. All right. Getting lots of yeses. Good. Very, very good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about offline cold market. Offline cold market, you know, the real world. You know, where you spend the majority of your time. It's actually planet Earth, out there. It's not behind your computer. Number one thing, and this, all of my training is going to help you with this. You must prevent yourself from saying too much. It's rule number one. So, some of you have seen this. Some of you have not. So I'm going to break it down. We're going to go kind of quick here. But I'd be doing a disservice if I assumed everyone knew what I was talking about. How many of you know what BIC even stands for? B-I-C. How many know? All right, I'm seeing some no's. Perfect. Good. I'm seeing lots of no's. Awesome. And then some of you, of course, have you know it. All right, so let's do it. BIC. BIC stands for break in communication. That's what BIC stands for. Break in communication. It is a real or fabricated. It is a real or fabricated reason why you need to keep your conversation short. You'll see why this is so important, and you'll also see where you may have made mistakes in prospecting strangers in the past. So, do I start with the question, right? Do I start with, do you keep your options open, or you want to make money? You like multiple streams of income? No, I don't start with that. Why? Because it's leaving you too open. You're going in there without a bulletproof vest. This is going into a prospecting meeting wearing a bulletproof vest. This is what this is. Maybe you even got some, Lothlorien armor underneath that is impenetrable. Okay, so you're covered. You're good. Breaking communication. Hey, I have to hop on this conference call, but just curious. Then you ask the question. Now, this is one of my favorite questions. If you don't like it, use your own question. The exactness of the question isn't it actually isn't that important as the BIC. The break in communication is critical. It is absolutely critical. If you're not using it on cold market prospects, you're really, really setting yourself up for a tougher time than you need to. Okay? So BIC, break in communication. Hey, I got to go pick up my kids at the school. I got to go jump on this conference call. I got to hop on a call with my partner. I have to go to a dentist appointment. Whatever. Okay, can be real, can be fabricated. It is something that is going to cause your conversation to be short. What it is really is a preemptive strike at the most feared question in cold market prospecting. Let me say that again. It is a preemptive strike against the most feared question in cold market prospecting. But I'll get to that in a second. All right, so BIC, breaking communication. I got to hop on this conference call. Just curious, would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing with blank, real estate, insurance, the grocery store, whatever, okay? Hopefully you've asked them a couple questions. I'm not going to go into the basics of, what questions do you ask to build rapport? Just be a human being, okay? What would a human being do, okay? What would a human being do? They would say, hey, nice hat, or nice shoes, or nice earrings, or hey, you from around here, or oh, I see you got a 49ers jersey on. How's it going with that, right? A human being would just ask them a couple basic questions. There would be no, agenda behind it, okay? I'm not going to go into that. That's for more basic trainings, okay? That's for just read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, if you're unable to communicate with other humans, okay? And I mean that. I don't mean it weirdly. If you're unable to communicate with other human beings, read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. We don't have time to cover the basics on this call. We're gonna cover some good stuff though. All right, so pay attention. BIC, break in communication. You have a reason for your conversation to be short. Question. It could be, Hey, do you know anyone that would like to have, more energy? Do you know anyone that would like to lose some weight? Do you know anyone that buys makeup? Whatever. There's a bajillion questions that you could ask at this point, and everyone wants to know what's the most effective. Do you want to know what the most effective question is? Whatever question you resonate with the most. See, I can ask this question all day long, and it's not a big deal. But if you can't, then you should pick a different question. Okay? Would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? Okay? Now, 80% to 95% of the time, how are they going to respond? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what they will respond with? I might just give away a prize. Sherry Brown. Very good. What is it? What is it? About 100 of you, because it's the most feared question. The most feared question in cold market prospecting. It is the one that brings network marketers to their knees. It makes them weep like babies, like tiny little babies. It is the question that turns men into mush, ladies into shrieking messes. The question that destroys the souls of, okay, maybe a little much, right? It's a tough question for most people because most trainers never tell you they're going to ask you that. They send you out into the world and say, good luck, buddy. And you go out there, you get hit with the what is it question, and you literally crumble. You crumble like yesterday's bag of potato chips. Here's why I've weaponized you. I have armed you to the teeth. You have that beautiful, that amazing, shiny even, break in communication. You restate your break in communication. So what that looks like is this. Would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? Well, what is it? Oh, man, I so look forward to telling you what it is. Like I mentioned before, I got to jump on this conference call, so unfortunately I can't answer you right now, but I'm real busy. But I promise you, I can call you maybe next Wednesday, maybe next Thursday. Okay? Now, why would I do that? First of all, did you catch how powerful the use of break-in communication was? Did you catch that? Did you catch how you were able to use your shield, your bulletproof, your Kevlar? Did you catch that? Now, how does it sound if I don't say BIC first? If I don't say a break-in communication first, how does it sound? It sounds defensive. If I say, hey, would you be open to a side project to interfere? What is it? Well, I got to jump on this conference call. Okay? When you restate your break-in communication, extremely powerful. Because you're not a mind reader. How could you have possibly known that they would ask you what it is? Who could know that? You're not Dr. Strange, Nostradamus. Come on. Who would possibly know that they would ask what it is? Well, only every network marketer. Every network marketer knows that, but they don't do anything about it. They just they have their fingers crossed behind their back. Hope they don't ask me what it is. Oh man, please don't ask. 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 Please don't ask me what it is. That's their level of business mastery. Fingers crossed behind their back, wishing and praying that they don't ask what it is. Well, why not just address the issue before it's even an issue? Break in communication. Question. Restate the break in communication when they ask what it is. Notice I didn't say if. See, most of the other trainers out there, they're wishing for you too. They're like, ooh, hope they don't ask them what it is. Oof. I'm just telling you they're gonna. 80 to 95, maybe 97% of people, if you say this, they're gonna ask what it is. You set the follow-up. Now, there are two powerful elements to the follow-up, okay? And one is something I came up with, and another is something that I heard from my buddy, Chris Carroll. And I'll actually talk about him a little bit later. But I'm real busy. But I promise you I can call you next Thursday. Now, before we get to next Thursday, because many of you are confused on why we would wait till next Thursday, okay? I'll get to that. Give me a second. Hold your horses here, okay? I promise. Now, let me ask you how you would feel. If I said, hey, if you give me your name and email, or if you give me your name and phone number, I can give you a call. I'll happily give you a call and let you know. Okay, how does that feel versus, hey, tell you what, man, I promise I will call you and let you know the details. Let me get your name and number, and I promise I'll call you back. Who sounds more like they're winning? When I say the word I promise, when I say promise, it looks to me like you are the one winning. Because would I ever promise something that was totally of benefit to me? Like would I go to my wife and say, I promise I'll let you give me a massage tomorrow? She'd say, yeah, thanks, bud. Mm-hmm. Right. But if I say, hey, I promise I'll give you a massage tomorrow, doesn't that make more sense? Okay? When you use the word promise, you are going to shift it just a little bit to where the benefit at least is arguably in their court. Is that powerful? One little word, promise. So most of you have been asking, hey, can I get your name and number and I can pretty please with sugar berries on top give you a call and pitch you my business? Okay, I'm not saying any of you would say it exactly like that, but that's how it sounds. It sounds like it's of benefit to you, not to them. But if you say the word, I promise I'll get you that, awesome thing. I promise I'll buy you a dessert. I promise I'll take you to lunch. I promise I'll give you a massage. It sounds, the word promise is associated with benefit to the person you're saying it to. This is advanced psychology, guys. This is not what you get this isn't your grandmother's network marketing training. This isn't what is taught, okay? This is advanced psychology. And the cool thing is, it's freaking easy. This isn't difficult. Is it difficult to say the word promise? It's not difficult. It's easy. You just have to know why. Why does this stuff work? Okay? Now, a page that I took from one of my buddies, Chris Carroll, one of our former mastermind clients, super sharp dude. He is a beast at prospecting. He is just a master of posture. Master. Just very, very good at posture. I'm pretty good at posture. He's very good at posture. He wants to come across like a doctor. So let me ask you this. If you go to a doctor and you say, hey, I'd like an appointment, and they say, oh, how about in 30 minutes? Might you wonder, is this really a good doctor? Man, they're so open in their schedule that they could talk to me in 30 minutes? I don't know. But if they say to you, ooh, man, we are really booked up, looks like we might be able to do November 22nd. Are you going to etch November 22nd into the side of your desk? Are you going to write it on your palm? Are you going to program it in your iPhone? Because you're thinking, holy crap, they're so busy. The soonest they can get us in is in November. Holy moly. Right? Or whatever, January, December. You know what I mean? If they give you something and it's not today or tomorrow, but it's something in the far future, might that make you realize that they are very busy? Okay? Busy people set dates and they schedule things that are far out. Okay? And I don't mean far out, man. I mean far out, calendar-wise. Now, that doesn't mean that you will wait until next Thursday, because let me ask you the same question. If that same doctor that told you, whatever, November, December, January, February, whatever month they told you, okay? If that same doctor called you the next day and said, hey, I just had something free up on my schedule, we can get you in today, are you going to hop at the chance? Are you going to skip and get in there right away? Are you going to drop everything and say, hey, sorry, kids, I can't pick you up from school. Just hitchhike. I got to get to this doctor. Okay? Obviously, you're not going to make your kids hitchhike. Let's not get crazy. But the point that I'm making is you're going to create urgency to get into that appointment. Does that make sense? Is that pretty neat stuff? See, you need to be busy. It's one of the biggest mistakes that network marketers make is they're too damn available. They're too available. Oh, you want to meet tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Sure. Oh, you got to change at 4 o'clock? Fine. Oh, you 6 o'clock? Sure. Right? You're too available. Stop being so available and start looking busier. Because if you had something that is as great as you're professing, then wouldn't you be busy? Wouldn't people be beating themselves and jumping over bushes and, tackling you for your opportunity if you really had what you think you have? Okay? You have to at least pretend to be really busy. You have to be. Because 2 reasons. 1, it attracts people. Same scenario. The guy, the poor dude in high school that learns he shouldn't be desperate, all of a sudden he starts being unavailable. A little more attractive. A little more attractive. I'm not saying you're going to convert someone that never would have dated you, but a little more attractive. All of a sudden, I didn't see him hanging out at the same place. All of a sudden, he's not doing the same. Where'd he go? Right? All of a sudden, not available. Can't hang out with him on Friday. Now, where'd he go? Okay? Non-availability does increase your attraction. It does. In business and in relationships. FYI. You're welcome, guys. Girls get it. Girls get it. They almost all of them get that. Not being available all the time actually makes the heart grow fonder. All right? Guys typically don't get it. We're typically clueless. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you wait till next Thursday. You can still call them the next day and say, I had an opening in my schedule. And I'm going to share with you what does that look like. So hopefully, I think you're seeing that this is helpful. Good stuff. Now, we're going to cover the follow-up. This is what, 99% of trainers skip. This is where they would say, now let me ask you this. Have I given you some value and you can go out there and start pulling more numbers just like that? Be honest. Hit me. Have I? Have I told you some ways to pull some numbers like freaking crazy? I could leave you at that. I could say, good luck, guys. Go get those numbers. And you probably would. You probably would go out and get those numbers. And then you would get home and you would look at these numbers and you would kind of ponder. You might scratch your head. You might look at them and you look at them again. And you're like, ooh, that trainer didn't tell me what to say. What do I say? What do I say? Does anyone know how to follow up with cold market prospects? And you Google it, right? You probably find a video of mine, right? So let me talk about the follow-up. It's where most people blow it. So there's 2 types of follow-ups, and I'm going to cover both because I don't want you a hardcore only prospecting android, okay? I want you to be a real human, okay? Remember like when the little fairy, I'm a real boy, right? I want you to think like you're still human. It is possible to be a network marketer and maintain humanity. It's possible, okay? What do I mean by that? Because I might be stepping on some toes here. It means that you don't have to prospect every soul you ever encounter. Okay? It may not be the right opportunity. It may not be the right timing. It may not be whatever. We can still be network marketers and still maintain being a human. Humans don't pitch every single person they see something for sale. That's what humans do. So let's be human, okay? There are going to be meetings, there are going to be times where you aren't going to bring up your business. God forbid, right? Well, I'm going to share with you how to follow up with people just like that, okay? And it's what I do. I'm not going to tell you something like this would be great in theory, guys. You really should do that. I'm going to tell you what I do, okay? And then I'm going to get into what you really want to know. Because even after my humanity speech, you're like, screw it, Ray, I'm going to prospect like crazy. Fine. I'm going to show you how to follow up with people that you did actually prospect, which is different. Okay? So the casual follow-up. Maybe you met someone, you didn't prospect them. I could give you 42 different examples in the last 2 weeks. I met with a friend of mine who runs the Bonita Springs Young Professionals. I was there to simply serve him and answer his questions. I didn't bring up any kind of pitch. I didn't bring up anything. Okay. Now, might I talk to him down the road about my opportunity? I might. I might not. I don't know. It's a good connection. I didn't. I didn't go. He didn't bring it up, and I didn't go for it. There are definitely times where I'm not just pitching my business. I'm there to genuinely listen to them and actually appreciate them and see if I can help them in any way. So met with this guy Brian. He has a marketing company. Offered him some suggestions on product creation and things like that. Let's see. Met with I can keep going. I meet with a lot of people locally that I don't go for the jugular right away and pitch them my opportunity. Well, you still should follow up with them. Here's what I do. I send them a thank you card. Now, this is something I first learned from Bob Berg in a book called Endless Referrals, and I personally, look at this image, isn't this great? You get a card, you get a card. This is a mock-up of a very popular talk show host. I think you know who that is. I use AM cards. Now, some of you may be in a different deal and you have cards. Use them, okay? I use AM cards. It's not an MLM. It's 100% brandable to you. I smack I smack a logo on the back of my card that's congruent to what we talked about. So the other day I met with a gentleman from Salesforce. Salesforce is a customer relationship management system, supposedly the biggest in the world. And this guy named Steve, super sharp dude, and we talked about my advice to him on blogging and branding. And so I actually, for his card, we used a logo of the 3-Minute Expert, which is my blogging and branding program. I didn't have a link. It wasn't a pitch, okay, because that's a key with thank you cards is you should not have a pitch in there, right? But I just sent him a little thank you card. Hey, so cool meeting with you. Thanks so much, okay? That's what I use for this type of follow-up. If you haven't, I know most of my audience actually has, you can actually send one for free at amcards.com/Ray. This presentation is not a pitch for AM cards, but if you don't have a cost and time effective way to send greeting cards, I would highly suggest this. It is not an MLM. We're not even looking for affiliates at this point, but amcards.com/Ray. And hardly anyone does this. It is super fast, it is super cheap, and it really stands out. You wouldn't believe how many people reach out to me and say, hey, got your thank you card. Holy crap. What a cool concept. Man, no one does that. That's super cool. Let me know how I can help you. Do they feel like they should reciprocate to me in some way? Yes, and that's exactly how I want people to feel. I want people that I meet with to think, man, I really should do something cool for Ray. I want me in the back of their head thinking, okay? Now, these are my casual follow-ups. Now, let's get into the prospecting follow-up. Now, why do I say possible? I say possible here because many of you are taught a different way. Some of you are taught that you have to get face-to-face with them. Some of you are taught that you have to get them to a meeting. You have to get them to a home meeting. You got to get them to a restaurant meeting. You got to get them to, whatever, fill in the blank, a webinar, whatever, okay? I say possible because I'm telling you how I do it. You listen to your upline. I'm not, when it comes to the exactness of detail here, then I'm going to suggest, have some flexibility here, all right? But here we go. If you've used the line that I shared with you, that hopefully you still remember, okay, hopefully you're still with me here, I had an unexpected opening in my schedule, and I was able to call you a little earlier than originally promised. Now, how does that sound? See, who's going to call you a little earlier than originally promised? Someone who has something of benefit for you. This is advanced psychology, guys. It's advanced, okay? But it works. It's these little tweaks, these little tiny tweaks. You think it's some big thing. It's these little tweaks, like using the word open instead of interested, using the word promised. Little tweaks. Now, what I don't like saying here, and I've heard people say this, I don't like saying I had someone cancel on me and now I have an opening in my schedule. I don't like that because it creates a negative psychological factor in their mind of why would someone cancel? If they have something great, why would they cancel? Okay? And even though that cancellation may have nothing to do with your opportunity, your business, or you, there's still a little negative factor there. Okay? So I like the idea of I had an unexpected opening. I don't like saying I had someone cancel on me, I had some loser not show up. I don't like saying that. I'd rather always be tweaking to make sure I'm coming across as positive. I'd love to know a little more about you. Can you share what's got you excited nowadays? What are you fired up about? Why is this so powerful? Because some of you are like, well, shouldn't you just get to the point and just rip their throats out? Okay, remember, human first, network marketer second. I'd love to know a little more about you. Can you share, what have you been up to? Like, what fires you up? Something like that. And this may build upon whatever you guys talked about when you were initially making the conversation with them. Okay, so this is going to have to be flexible. If you read this right here and you think, oh my God, Ray, I don't know how to communicate like a human, get the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It will greatly help you. By the way, I just want to let you in on a little secret here. I feel very good at communicating with other human beings. I've read that book 3 times. And I'll probably read it again. It's just one of those things. It's like Think and Grow Rich that I read and I go through every once in a while just to brush up on my skills. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Great book. Talks about motivation, talks a little bit about persuasion in a very, very powerful way. Okay, so if I give you a question and I say, hey, be a little loose with this, guys, and you get super stressed out, then you need to get that book and you need to learn human communication. And please, be coachable. Don't get offended when I say human communication or else you'll never get anywhere. If you get easily offended, you haven't a shot in hell at being a business builder. You have no chance of creating success in any business, let alone network marketing. So those that get easily offended, those are the wilted flowers. They never make it, ever. You got to toughen up at least a little bit, and you got to be coachable, right? Now, you had mentioned you might be open to the side project I was going to go over. Any particular reason why? Any particular reason why? Or you could say the whole thing here. Any particular reason why you might be open to making some extra money? Now, what's powerful about this is very, very worded on purpose. Might be open. Does that presume too much? Am I being presumptuous? Not at all. See, so many network marketers are way too presumptuous. I see it every 2 hours in my email box and my Facebook messaging. Way too presumptuous. They're drawing way too many assumptions. It isn't good. Okay? You had mentioned you might be open to the side project I was going to go over. Any particular reason why? Now, I'm telling you, I've said this to a lot of people. They've always given me reasons. But sometimes I dig a little more. Well, why? Okay, you said you want to make some more money. Okay, why? Just curious. How come? Why is that important to you? Let them talk. Your best follow-up, all of you, not all of you, most of you are looking for, what do I say, what do I say, what do I say? Listen. Learn to be a better listener. My God. You will change the game if you learn to listen better. You will absolutely change the game. Okay? This is like a consultant. Listen. Let me just ask you, is it harder or easier for you to listen and let them talk? And if one of you says, oh, that's much harder to listen, have you tried it? Have you tried to listen? See, if I program you with some big, long, heavy script that you have to memorize, that's hard. I mean, you can learn it. and you can get better at it, and you can practice, 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 and you can have it down pat, but you'll never make it easier than just listening. Just listening is the easiest thing you can do. And they're going to give you ammunition. They're going to give you ammunition. Now, here's where it may vary. It sounds to me like this might be a fit for you, and you may even want to throw in a because. See, a because would be this would be a very good place for the word because. Because is hypnotic in nature. It's very powerful. They've done studies with the word because. Sounds to me like this might be a fit for you because you mentioned you wanted to, get around like-minded entrepreneurs, and you wanted to, make more money, and you wanted to grow yourself. Well, this might be a fit because of all those reasons, because that's, all the things that we do. But we really won't know for sure until you watch the overview. Are you in front of your computer right now? This is where it's personal preference. You could take them and say, are you in front of your computer right now? Get them in front of a presentation. Say, okay, the presentation is 16 minutes. I'm going to call you right back. Okay, I got another call I got to handle. I'm going to call you in 16 minutes. Are you able to watch it right now? And this will determine if it's a fit for you or not. Okay, or you could say, I'm going to send you a link. How soon can you watch this link? There's a couple different ways you can handle this. But the whole point is to let it be their decision. Their decision that this is a good fit for you. And you can do that with that word because. But you have to draw the association of we'll never know unless you watch the overview. Now let me handle one more objection here before it comes up. I know it will. Well, Ray, what if they ask how much is it? Do you know my answer to that? Are you ready? This is a big deal. I don't have it on the screen, so you're going to have to listen. If they ask me, how much is it? How much does it cost? How much is the investment? I answer 100% of the time. I say, well, it depends. There are actually multiple levels, and it may not even be a fit for you, so it may not be anything. It may not cost you a dime. See, what I've done is I've made it a tough target to nail down, because let me tell you why they're asking it. They're asking to rule it out. See, you think it's just a straightforward question, and you say, oh, it's 500 bucks. And then they say, ooh, I don't have 500 bucks. Well, let me tell you, nobody has $500 to burn. No one. You have to get them in front of the benefits. You have to get them in front of the overview. You have to get them more information before they know how much it is, or else they'll rule it out and know what it is. Very, very, very powerful. Okay? I'm just curious, was that helpful? I've never shared it like that before. I've never gone on a webinar and shared it to that much detail. Was that powerful? Okay. Okay. Some of you are asking for me to repeat my response. So, if someone asks me, well, how much is it? 100% of the time, I'm going to say, well, that depends. There are multiple options, but the truth is, it may not even be a fit for you, and it won't cost you anything. See, I mixed in I don't know what you would technically call it, maybe a tie down, I'm not sure, but I mixed in something in there that makes it, ooh, I guess I got to watch the presentation. I was trying to get out of it, but I guess I got to watch it, and even a little bit of a takeaway. And now they're thinking, well, why wouldn't it be a fit for me? I'll show him. Now they're wanting to watch the presentation to prove to me that it is a fit for them. That's some deep psychology for you guys. It is so powerful, just to dig a little bit deeper. Okay.